Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host for the next hour. My name is Dane Sorenson, and you've entered Zero Doubt Zone. This is where we seek truth, we vet facts, and we're going to do it together. We're going to cover the NSA in this show number 8 of Zero Doubt Zone, the National Security Agency. And I have just a couple questions to have you think about it. The phones will be wide open this evening, so feel free to call anytime. That's 831-479-1080. That number once again is 831-479-1080. Question number 1. Is the NSA justified in their surveillance? Question numero dos. Is NSA spying treason against the American people? And question number 3. Let's do 4 questions. Question number 3. If it was illegal now and before, how did no one get in trouble for the last 10 or 20 or who knows how long they've been spying on us, right? And then question number 4. Is Edward Snowden, Snowden, is he a traitor or is he a patriot? Ponder those questions. Call us anytime. I do have to cover some business, if you will. We need sponsors here at Zero Doubt Zone, everybody. Check out zerodoughtzone.com, and if you wouldn't mind hitting that little donate button, that'd be so awesome. That'd be great. I'd love to keep doing this show. It's starting to get a little tight, if you know what I mean. But if you go to zerodoughtzone.com and hitting that donate button, that'll be amazing just to support us. $1, $5, $10, $20,000. Hey, how about $1 million? You can dream, right? But your support is really appreciated. You can also, another way to support us that doesn't cost you any money is to go to YouTube. That's YouTube Zero Doubt Zone, and hit subscribe. When you subscribe to us on Zero Doubt Zone, YouTube, that actually greatly supports us a lot. If you can't help financially, you can just subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money. It might just take you a minute or two. Just log into your YouTube account. If you don't have one, it's really easy to set up, and they don't spam you or anything like that. But when you subscribe to us, it really helps. So subscribe, please. That would be amazing. Let's talk about our Facebook page. You can go to Facebook and also comment on some of our links that we're doing. And we are going to be establishing Twitter. We're going to have, hopefully by next week, we're going to have an interactive. So we're going to have one of my team members in studio, and we're going to be fielding questions as we go. And that's going to be something that we set from now on going forward, to have a live ability to interact. If you can't make the phone call, but you can tweet, let's do it. NSA. The National Security Agency. But let's start it off. I asked a couple questions. I said, is the NSA justified in their surveillance? Also, is the NSA spying treason against the American people? Because that's two sides. Some might think it's justified, some might think it's treason. And then, is it illegal? If it was illegal now, and well, I mean, back then, my question was, how come no one got in trouble? Like, nobody. It's illegal. I mean, if I do something illegal, I get thrown in jail or fined. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how the law works. I'm just asking. And another question, is Snowden, that's Edward Snowden, is he a traitor or is he a patriot? Call us anytime, 831-479-1080. Any of those questions to answer or place your opinion on that. That'd be great. I did want to start out with an interesting quote, and I had quoted this in show number 1, and it was from Ben Franklin. And there's a couple different versions of this, but I like this one the best. He said, "Those who surrender freedom for security will not have, nor do they deserve, either one." Whoa, Ben Franklin. Ouch. You know, Ben, I have to say you're probably pretty right there. You don't deserve either one. Oh well. So let's talk about the National Security Agency. It actually started November 4th, 1952. It was the preceding of the Armed Forces Security Agency. And their motto is defending our nation, securing the future. Defending our nation, securing the future. The employees are a total of it's classified, but they're estimating it's 30 to 40,000 employees with it's classified budget as well, but 10.8 billion that we know about. That's a lot of money, but that's an estimate. So who knows? I don't know. There's been some money that was lost. Wasn't it wasn't it Donald Rumsfeld who, what was it? It was September 10th. That's right. You guys can Google this too. This might blow your mind a bit, but September 10th, the day before September 11th, Donald Rumsfeld goes, live and says, we don't know what happened to, what was it, 2.3 trillion? $2.3 trillion. Was it 2.3, 2.1? I don't know. Day before 9/11, he goes, so we don't know what happened to the $2.3 trillion. And boom! Here comes September 11th. I don't know. I just look at that number of the 10.8 billion that the National Security Agency, that was back in 2013 though, so that was a couple years back, but the National, and this is their Wikipedia page. It says, National Security Agency is an intelligence organization of the United States government responsible for global monitoring, collection, and processing of information and data for foreign intelligence and counterintelligence purposes. A discipline known as signals intelligence. SIGINT. I wanted to get some other views, some other perspectives. And there was an interesting article by a gentleman back in 2013 named Gerald Walpin. And this is out of the National Review. He's a blogger. And I guess he used to be a federal prosecutor. And the title of his blog was, "We Need NSA Surveillance." Well, Gerald, you might be right. And he says, look, our founders and Lincoln's teaching is even stronger when applied to the NSA. Its surveillance program violates no constitutional provision. It examines only the addressee and sender of emails and telephone numbers called and called from. Wow, okay, that was 2013. This guy might be a little ill-informed, but I just wanted to show you perspectives here. The Supreme Court has long held that such information is not privacy protected by the Fourth Amendment. As a former federal prosecutor, Gerald says, I often obtain such evidence through law enforcement tools known as pen registers and mail covers. Here's something else too. The Fourth Amendment. Let's look at the Fourth Amendment here real quick. And this is out of Cornell. You can get anywhere, just Google it, but the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution provides the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizure. And that shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That means, what does that mean? They can't just blanket surveil? I guess. That's what the Fourth Amendment was saying, but maybe that's changed. Well, let's just look here, shall we? May 7th of 2015. This was by CNN actually reported on this, but a lot of other news organizations reported on this, but May 7th. It says, court rules NSA program is illegal. Illegal. Against the law. That was back in 2015. I remember reading an article, what was it, back in, there's another one. Here's another one. Sure. The New York Times, NSA collection of bulk call data is ruled illegal. Wow, okay. Washington Post also, March 18, 2014, President okays NSA's ability to go back 30 days and listen to persons of interest or anyone who might be considered a threat to our national security. I think we kind of covered that. Was that show number 3 where some could consider that I went off the rocker a bit and said that the National Defense Authorization Act pretty much violates every aspect of our rights and dubs a person like me, a free speecher, a domestic terrorist. So in that case, I guess they could just say, hey, let's surveil that guy. But, let's talk about Snowden for a sec. Now, Snowden ripped it wide open, didn't he? There have been people who were talking about this a lot before, like people like Alex Jones. Ooh, Alex Jones. You can't say Alex Jones. He's a kook. Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. He was talking about this 10 years ago, maybe longer, 20 years ago, saying that the NSA was bulk collecting data on everybody. Everybody. Turns out, Alex Jones was right. Thanks to Snowden, I'm sure the public will call in to say whether Snowden is a traitor or he's a patriot. But the fact of the matter is they were doing it for a long time. I don't have it in front of me. I believe it was the last like 10 or 15, 20 years. I'm pretty sure it was about 20 years ago that they started doing the data collection, but the real bulk of it was the last 10 years. I might be wrong. Hey, Colonel Terry, if you're out there listening, you got your ears on, man, call in and let's talk about it. I had a good time with you last week, by the way. Man, how is that? How is that? Let's go back to my one of my other questions. If it was illegal now, and it was illegal then, it's illegal, illegal by our court system. How come nobody gets in trouble? Nobody. So if the NSA broke the law by surveilling everybody, I mean, not just Verizon. I mean, they were showing it was Verizon and AT&T and everybody else. Nobody gets in trouble? Why? Why? Seriously, why? Is it because we're all too busy? We're all too focused on trying to keep needles, for the government from poking needles in our arms? Mandatory vaccines? Oh, sorry. They're still counting the referendum, by the way. So those of you who do care about freedom of choice of, having the government not mandate a vaccine to be shot in your arm, those numbers are still being tallied, and I've been keeping updated with Mr. Tim Donnelly on that as well. But that's all I'll say about vaccines tonight, folks. Well, okay, maybe not, but I'm not going to talk about it for 4 hours straight. NSA spying, data collection. Did you know about this? This is something that came out, that a lot of people don't know, because I've actually talked to some people. I'm like, did you know about the Utah data center that the NSA, what was it, 10, where's my documentation on that here? Let's see, oh wait, I forgot about this. So the NSA, and the NSA employees actually reaffirm their oath to the Constitution. You can get this on our blog. So we're going to get this blog running probably the next week or two to get this one up for show number 8. We got a lot of work to do. My team members laughing because it's so much work. But eventually you're going to be able to click on everything we're talking about. You'll be able to see all of the links that I base my info on. Okay. But this one was very interesting. It actually had it had a picture of a bunch of employees of the NSA taking an oath to the Constitution on September 17th, 2015. I find that very interesting when it's been dubbed illegal numerous times, multiple times in court, and you have all the employees taking a pledge and an oath to the Constitution to defend the Constitution, to defend the liberty of the people. Yet they're still doing it. Still doing it. Oh, no, it's illegal, so we're not doing it anymore. Right, because we can trust you. Right? We can totally trust you. I mean, I trust you. I trust you as much as I trust Big Pharma. Uh-oh. Sorry. Let me take a step back. Take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to keep my composure, folks, because it is very, very necessary. I have a tendency of, all right, okay. Composure. Illegal. Oh, illegal. Oh, okay, sure. So I grabbed something, and some of you may or may not like the ACLU, but they do stand up for a good portion of rights, right? And this is an article they put out when was this, back in 2002, and it says, ACLU states George W.'s executive order in 2002 allowing the NSA to monitor without a warrant international domestic telephone calls, well, that's illegal. So I believe that part of that was of the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act really wiped our Fourth Amendment. And the Fourth Amendment, we already talked about that, but look it up, get acquainted with it, because that pertains to you. Give us a call, 831-479-1080. Let's talk about the NSA. I mean, unless you're nervous, but it doesn't really matter. They're listening anyways. They can hear you at your house, right? They got every phone call, every email, every bank statement, your GPS coordination on your phone. I mean, they can backtrack it if they want to, right? Look up the Utah data center. The statistic I saw was it 20 terabytes a second or 20 terabytes a minute, along those lines? And I tried to find it kind of in a rush before I came in, but the number that they put out for the size of the ability or the data that they can actually collect. I mean, this facility is 1 million square feet, 1 million square feet. And this is in, was it Bluffdale, Utah? I say that right? Bluffdale, Utah. Where'd you go? I want to get the specifics on that. 1 million square feet. And something like, I don't know how many megawatts of energy and how much water it actually takes to process, because a lot of Utahans, I say that right, people of Utah were up in arms because they're like, dude, you're suckling all the water. That's not fair. Where is it? Fourth Amendment. All right. Collecting my thoughts here. We have a lot. There's a lot to go over. I haven't even got into the RFID chip yet. You know, why not? Okay. There's been a technology that most of you have known about because you put it in your pets. It's called an RFID, radio frequency identification. I've read things a number of years ago that the implementation of that in pets was to desensitize people, to get them implanted inside of you. I mean, do you really need that because you have your phone on you all the time? You're pretty much tracked all the time. Did you know that? Did you know that the microphone could be tapped into? It's just an IP address. Your microphone, your camera on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. Sky's the limit. I mean, it's illegal, but they're going to keep doing it. For what purpose? To keep you safe. To keep you safe. To ensure our security. Let's think about that for a sec. The National Security Agency, I know, has nothing to do with the border. But don't you think, isn't the Department of Homeland Security supposed to kind of blend all those together, kind of be the liaison, if you will? If the National Security Agency is trying to keep us safe, yet our border is wide freaking open, doesn't that make their job a little more difficult? And this has been weighing on me for the last couple weeks. More than that, I mean, ever since show number 4, I got that wrong last week. Donnelly was on show number 5. But show number 4 was the Dennis Michael Lynch documentary called They Come to America. And that really went through the open borders. And I'm coming back to the open borders because if our government says that we're secure, and that's why we had Department of Homeland Security and National Security Agency, why the heck are our borders wide open? So I started pondering this. I started philosophizing with some friends about it. And this is some stuff we'd thought a long, long, long time ago. If the border is wide freaking open, the possibility of some nefarious people coming through, and by the way, it's 52% of the people coming across the border are not from Mexico. So remember that. But they set stuff up like the Patriot Act, and they set stuff up like the National Defense Authorization Act to constrict our rights, right? National Security Agency surveilling every single thing we do, your bank statements. I know, I already said it. Your emails. They know what you like on Facebook. They know who you like. They know who you share or what you share. The photos that you look, or the photos that you like, and everything else that you do online can be documented. You're basically creating a profile on Facebook for the powers that be. Did you know that? You are willfully, well, I mean, maybe willfully ignorant, but you're willfully doing that. I mean, I'm using Facebook as a tool now for the show. But, I mean, for a long time there, it was... Oh, think about it, folks. You're building a profile for the powers that be. Isn't that interesting? There has been instances also, you can Google search this. So Google search this, hacked webcam laptops. Check it out. Go on your computer, go on your tablet, hacked webcam laptops. It's an IP address, folks. Hey, we got Robert calling from Santa Cruz. Thank you for calling Zero Doubt Zone. Robert, thank you so much for calling. What is on your mind, sir? Oh, I didn't hit the play button. My bad. I hit the right one. Robert, how you doing? Can you hear me? You're on air. Robert, come in, Robert. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's on. It's running. Bear with me, folks. People can go in. If they're smart enough. Oh, it would help if I actually hit the on button, right? Dude, I had this so nailed. All right. I want to thank the staff of KSCO for putting up with me. Robert from Santa Cruz, how you doing, boss? What's on your mind? Welcome to Zero Doubt Zone.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
All right.
Excellent, man. How's it going?
So, the history of the NSA and all this surveillance goes way back to like basically the end of the 80s. And what they announced at that time was that they had come up with a phone system that did word searches. So what it did was it would key on certain words, and then if it picked up that word, right, then it would listen in on your conversation.
The algorithms, right? Well,
right.
I'm pretty sure it's way advanced now. If the 80s, I mean, of course, the technology technology that we understand is like what 20 years behind what they actually tell us.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're way behind what they tell us. I mean, this is where barcodes and all that other stuff came from. But this is basically, as far as I can see it, it's a way to sort of keep track of the black market and so on and so forth. And keeping track of where all the money and what's going on is, because that's all they're really interested in. They really want to know what's going on with their money, basically. That was the war on drugs.
Do you think that's just it? You think they're just concerned with where the money's going, or?
Well, they're concerned about a lot of other things too, but most of it's all control. I mean, we're always in some sort of war, and I mean, this was pointed out by several scholars. In 70s, 80s, and now you don't really hear them anymore. But it was pointed out that that a lot of this was to just keep control, and the war on drugs was basically a way to get the money back. I mean, the money was leaving the country, but it wasn't coming back.
Well, that's still the case, though, even with illegal immigration. It's $70 billion a year goes out of this country from illegal immigrants, right?
Right, absolutely. And so they always want this war thing going on because they can keep this police state going, and that's why they're really not going to ever do anything about it.
I got it.
Okay. I mean, in a lot of ways, you got to just sort of live with it because it's never going to really stop. Not until they at least get a chip in you or something.
The chip.
I mean, they don't really need to really spy on you. You openly tell them everything they want to know when you're on Facebook.
Yep. No, that's exactly what I was talking about before. Hey, Robert, I appreciate another call. Good point, Robert. Hey, we got Steve from SoCal. Steve, how you doing tonight? Welcome to Zero Doubt Zone. What's on your mind?
I noticed when you were mentioning about hacking, like computers, and they turn on the cameras or they listen to you. But we invite them right into our living room now. They got the new televisions that listen to your conversations. That's right.
The Samsung. Actually, dang it! Thanks for reminding me. I actually texted myself about that because was that last year? Samsung basically said, in the little pamphlet they said, watch what you say because we're listening.
Yeah, so that's a new one. And that last caller, what he mentioned about being at war and everything, what they weren't planning on was what Putin just pulled. This is a new one.
Oh, you said this is a new one?
Yeah, because he's after like Al Qaeda or those guys that are working with us, as well as ISIS.
With that said, though, what do you think about the whole National Defense Authorization Act then? Because this almost coincides where, I mean, we've read reports stating through the National Defense Authorization Act that they consider people like me a domestic terrorist. And that would be a person of interest, first of all. So NSA would be tied into me and wanting to know what I'm doing when I'm just trying to defend our rights and talk about liberty and freedom and the infractions that are placed upon the people, the people's rights. And I mean, how many times the NSA, it's been dubbed illegal, it's been dubbed illegal, it's been dubbed illegal, yet it still continues to happen. And there's been, I don't have the source right now, but there's been people coming forward saying, well, I mean, Snowden, call him a patriot, call him a traitor, but what Snowden is releasing and telling people about is real stuff, saying that, it's not just about Al-Qaeda. It's about actually surveilling the American people for what you were saying, for control. And the question is, control what? Why would you want to control a free society? I mean, well,
one thing is to keep us ignorant or passive because so they can pull this New World Order thing. Ooh, but one thing I wanted to warn them.
You said New World Order. Uh-oh, I've only said that twice on this show.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, no. Hey, what is the New World Order? I don't know. Maybe we should all Google it. I'm sorry. Continue, Steve. What were you saying?
Well, that's not too hard to figure out. No. See, one thing I noticed about the Bible is what it warns is that the Christians, because the Bible is written for the Christians, so it's kind of warning the Christians. It says they will come and they will kill you. In other words, towards the end, they're going to be after the Christians, and they're literally going to be after them to kill them. And I think that this is all just with Putin over there doing what he's doing right now, and all this thing about killing Christians is, it's like the New World Order thing. It's just going to steamroller right over us because of this, this far leftist agenda or whatever it is. That they're going to be headed. But see, they're the ones that are in the very end that are going to be destroyed. But the Christians better, pay attention because they're going to be. They're coming after them.
No, I hear you, Steve. Thank you for calling, man. The New World Order. We haven't gone into that, and we're going to. I think it's getting pretty close to the time to start talking about that kind of stuff, because I find it very interesting that, 20 years ago when people like Alex Jones were talking about this stuff, or Michael Savage were talking about this stuff, you were considered conspiracy theorists if you talked about the New World Order. But then you have George Sr. in front of the world saying, New World Order, 1,000 points a lot, New World Order. Okay, why is the president talking about the New World Order when the media is saying it doesn't exist? And then you have Henry Kissinger, 2008, on the floor of the Dow Jones Industrial, right as Obama's coming in for his inauguration. He goes, it's the perfect opportunity for a New World Order. Mr. Kissinger, I didn't think that existed, now did it? But now we're talking about the New World Order, and everyone thinks it's so cool. We got Jay-Z doing a little Illuminati symbol. Oh, we're talking about the Illuminati now. Man, I mean, shoot, we might as well start talking about 9/11. What about the NORAD stand down? Folks. Oh no. Oh boy. Whew. Oh, Nikki from Monterey, thank you for saving me. I was about to go off on a tangent there. Hey, Nikki, thanks for calling Zero Doubt Zone. What is on your mind?
Hey there. I love Michael Savage.
Oh, he's good.
I've always listened to him. I'm an independent. I'm right of center, but I'm an independent because both parties are not true to what's going on. They've all gone left and they've all gone crazy.
Shame on you, Nikki. I'm just kidding. I'm happy that there's free thinkers out there.
I have to be. I'm from New York.
I don't mean to offend anybody who's on the left or the right or Democrat or Republican, whatever. I'm just saying it's a paradigm. I think it's a distraction, my own opinion. Anyways, continue, Nikki.
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. I'm from New York. I know what's up. So anyway, I want to say a couple things. I was a law student at first, economics and law major at UC Santa Cruz when I started there, and I switched over to technology later. But I will tell you what I learned about that, and I also want to say something about this Snowden guy. Mm-hmm. Okay. First off, the international world order. I'm sorry, the world order thing.
New World Order, yeah.
Yeah, New World. Oh my God! When I was in the international,
they love you.
Me? No, trust me, they won't love me by the time I'm done. What I learned when I was in my international law class there, and they did a lot of pressuring for you to think only one way. Okay, I actually reported this one teacher. I should have reported her to the FBI too, but they are trying to get you to go in lockstep. Now, it's a very good thing that we do not sign on to all treaties, but she said that they do a thing called guilt and, I don't know, some kind of pressure when you don't sign on to these treaties. And she's for them. And she's for never owning a gun, okay? There's never a time when guns should be used, even in military things. It's crazy, okay? But what I learned when I was in this class, and before I dropped out, I printed out everything that she was putting out there. Sure. And I'll tell you, that world order right now is... I would say would be the International Court of Justice, because you know what happens if everyone signs on to every treaty, okay? And a lot of these are
the TPP. Yep.
Well, there's other ones that are very vague in their wording, like anyone can travel through a country and do this and that. What are you talking about, anyone? Okay, it's vague wording like that, and they are far-reaching into your personal life, your religious life, your education, your business, just your way of life in your country. So it is a great thing that we are a dualist state, and by dualist state, I don't mean California, I mean the United States of America and the Congress and Senate, and it has to go through stages before it's approved and ratified. Some places that are a single state, as soon as they sign a treaty, it's a done deal. Right. So it's a very good thing that we are not like that, because if we do that, who that puts in charge, and you should look up the International Court of Justice and how big this thing is. Okay. And it's frightening. It is really frightening. They've had this thing in place for a long time. So if you sign on, okay, when they go to enforce these things, NATO and the International Court of Justice literally will be in charge of every country if you give up your sovereignty. So it is a good thing that we fight against not being so appeasing to every treaty, but they will do this guilt and pressure thing, like shock and awe. It's a guilt and thing, and try to make you feel bad. And that's what all these little minions, these little puppets on the left,
the talking heads on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, what I call them little minions. I don't want to insult the cute little yellow guys. But, I mean, the little puppets. And a lot of these kids that are being brainwashed don't realize what they're doing. Well, they don't understand the severity of the situation.
They're compartmentalized. They don't understand. Yeah, exactly. They don't know the severity of it. I mean, I don't know either completely. I mean, to dig into this stuff, it's overwhelming.
Read treaties. Yeah. Read treaties. Look at the International Court of Justice. See pictures of this place. This teacher used to work at The Hague. Her TA used to work at the UN. And I said, look, anytime you would say, well, that's not true, and you would prove it. And even a military guy was in my class. I didn't know till later. She would ignore your hand. She would reroute the wording, say, yes, why, that is a human rights violation for the United States of America, and reroute the whole talk back to something else. Okay, she would downgrade you. Seriously, and you were afraid to speak up or afraid not to answer things in this class because you were afraid that they would downgrade you. And I had other students come to me later because I was the one standing up for this. Okay, and they came to me later and said, both of us put down the same answers on the test, and because I spoke up and said, why are you trying to, this guy said, why are you trying to indoctrinate us? They failed him on his test.
I bet they did. He wasn't.
And failed me on a test.
You weren't fitting the profile. Nikki, thank you so much for calling. Man, that's pretty much coincides with everything I've heard, where it's in indoctrination process. So people don't know any better, right? I mean, they're trying to get their jobs. They're trying to get a part of the system, the IRS or the NSA or whatever they're in. And they believe they're doing a good thing. And hey, most of them are, right? But then it comes to a point where you have a decision to make, like an Edward Snowden, right? He saw what was going down. He knew what was happening. The tens of millions upon millions of hundreds of millions of people getting surveilled every single day, their bank accounts, every bank statement transaction, every email, every keystroke, every phone call, your GPS coordination. People, we're fully surveilled. Is it for our security? I think that's what we should truly be asking. And if you start looking into Agenda 21, you start looking to the New World Order, and these people are now talking about it. Henry Kissinger, George Bush. Look up New World Order presidents, and you can see how many different times each president has talked about it. And when it didn't exist before, But they were talking about it. Now it's in full front. And they're saying, oh, yeah, no, it's good. World government's great. I mean, now you got the Pope talking about how, he's basically talking about world government. He's basically talking about climate, to tax every person for their carbon footprint, even though, aren't we carbon entities? That means we're being taxed for being alive. Yet homeboy flies around in this gnarly, huge, ginormous jet. And what is it, the Vatican? I can't even go into that yet. I'm not trying to bash the Vatican. I'm not trying to bash the Pope. But he said some things at the UN that made me very nervous. Very, very nervous. For all you Christians out there, you heard what he said. I know some of it could be taken out of context. But if you read it, and what he said was, Christ failed on the cross. The cross was a failure. Well, that's the first time a pope has ever said that. That's the exact opposite of what popes say. The cross is a victory. All right, this is not a sermon, but I just have to say there's very interesting things coming down. A lot of people are talking about world government, world monetary supply. What's going to happen? Is the dollar going to crash? And next thing you know, hey, guess what? Sorry about that. The Federal Reserve says, oops, yeah, it crashed. We don't know why. Really? You don't know why it crashed? But hey, here's a new monetary system. In order to use it, you have to have a microchip in your hand. Oh, now we're getting way out there, aren't we? We're going to dig into this more. We're going to actually show you the clips and the books and the white papers that all these people that are in power nowadays, like George Soros and Henry Kissinger and Zbigniew Brzezinski talked about. We're going to start really digging into that. I'm just throwing it out here right now just to kind of prepare your mind for it. But that stuff exists. And they've talked about this for decades and decades. And the plan that they've talked about is slowly coming out. Exactly what they talked about. Poisoning people with the food, the water, the vaccines, the air, the textiles, the lotions, the every aspect of our lives, the information, the subconscious, the TV's listening to you, your phone listening to you. Getting out there. But when they talk about this stuff, and now it's happening, kind of makes it a little nervous. All right. Went off on a tangent. We got to back that up. I have nothing to back that up right now. But my plan, Zero Doubt Zone style, is to back that up. Real quick before I take that call of Alice and Seaside, I just want to remind everyone to subscribe to us on YouTube. If you can't help us financially on ZeroDoubtZone.com with the donate button, $1, $5, $10, $50 million, go to the YouTube page and just hit subscribe. That really helps a lot too. You may not agree with everything, but hey, we're still trying to fight for freedom. When we do come across something that I said that maybe wasn't accurate, we correct it, or we try to, and we'll eventually get there, okay? YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, please subscribe to us. All right, Alice from Seaside. Welcome to the Zero Doubt Zone. How may I help you?
Hello. I wanted to say two things about what you've been talking about. One is about the Pope. Look at him. I don't trust him. There's something not right about him. Look at his face.
You get that weird feeling?
Oh, I know I do. And I am a Christian, okay? And I know God in my life, and I'm not part of any particular church right now, but I can sit under a tree with the Bible, and I know, and that's pretty much what you're supposed to do, okay? You need to separate yourself from all the churches that are saying, look at me and all this stuff. But look at his eyes, look at his face. There's something not right there. And for him to say that the cross was a failure, that is an antichrist type of a statement right there. Yeah. He's denying Christ by saying that. Yeah. And the other thing...
That's a sign for a lot of people, I think. Whether you believe in God or not, for a Christian, for a Catholic, I think there's some people that are just so hopelessly just enamored with the man, and maybe that's okay. Maybe he didn't mean it. I don't know. But
didn't the Bible say that people would be following the Antichrist and that they would stand behind him and he'd be doing all these things in God's name?
Just waiting for the miracles to start happening, I guess.
Yes. The other thing is, well, he wants to attack climate change and all these other things. It's almost like he's going into politics. This is very out of sorts for a pope, and it's very much so. Self-glorifying. Now, the other thing I wanted to say about was Snowden. Okay, it's not just about monitoring people for the fact of monitoring people. Think about this. We have terrorists right in this country. I think it's the government admitting that they don't know who is who, what is what, but they also know that they have American connections, and this is how they operate through us. So, of course, they need to monitor things.
So wait, Alice, let me ask you, you're okay with the government tapping into your phone at all times? And
I have no problem with that.
On your smartphone while you're showering, and I mean, obviously you don't have your phone in with you, but I mean, you know what I mean? If they have the ability, and they do have the ability to tap into any IP address connected device, so they can actually, but you don't mind that privacy loss?
I don't think that they're interested in me. I'm not doing anything that they would be interested in. I think that they're looking for specific things, and I heard whispers amongst people in the military and other stuff that I could tell before stuff happened, before 9/11, something was coming down. And
how so? What do you mean?
I talked to people about what languages that they were learning at DLI and other stuff, and it kind of told me where they were starting to go out to, and just the way that kind of like they talked about things, I kind of just observed and listened, and there was a whole lot of people learning Arabic, a lot.
Oh yeah, well,
and a whole lot of people going to one specific region.
So I mean, do you think that? And I've heard similar things, that they already knew we were going into Iraq and Iran. I mean, well, not Iran yet, but Afghanistan. I mean, we were already in Afghanistan, but heading into Iraq. It's funny you say that, because have you heard about the 28-page report that was fairly heavily censored, but portions of Congress were actually able to read it, from the 9/11 Commission, that basically proved foreknowledge of 9/11, a NORAD stand down. We're talking about 9/11, and I actually looked it up. There was if people want to Google it, YouTube it. Subscribe to us while you're doing that, by the way. Zero Doubt Zone. Shameless plug. But look up Norman Mineta. Look up Norman Mineta's testimony, which was stricken from the 9/11 Commission. He basically talks about, just check it out. I'll leave it at that.
I'm from New York, okay? I had a feeling why they put it in place, because Gore couldn't have handled what was going on. I had a feeling something was going on. But I am from the East Coast, and I don't believe that it was our government that did that. We have to be very careful not to listen to those who try to divide and conquer this country and this nation and its people, not knowing which way to go. When everybody starts running every direction, divide and conquer, okay? Divide and conquer. And that's what it's about, is doubt. They're placing doubt in the American people about their own government, about one another, and we have to stand united. That's what America is about. But we have to be able to decide who are really Americans, who are here just to benefit from us, and who are here undercover trying to tear us apart.
But Alice, shouldn't we be? I mean, I understand standing united, but I mean, blindly united. I mean, shouldn't we question certain things, like why was there an actual testimony from the head of NORAD basically stating that Dick Cheney was in the room, took over, and said sorry. Okay, I can't go too far with that, because I think it's important that everyone sees it with their own eyes and hears it with their own ears. For those who have ears, let them hear. For those who have eyes, let them see. But shouldn't we be asking these questions? Shouldn't we be questioning the reality
we can
that's
question
been prescribed to
certain. We have to question, of course, but we also have to look at who the source is that provided these things, because this could be propaganda.
Absolutely.
Do you not remember Tokyo Rose? Okay, and what she did to the soldiers?
No, what was that?
Think about that.
Tokyo Rose.
Tokyo Rose used to come on the radio and play American music for the soldiers. I think it was Vietnam or something like that, and say, "Oh, I wonder who your wife is with tonight," and start throwing these little digs in, and start throwing these other
into
things.
Their subconscious.
Tokyo Rose used to try and break down their morale. And propaganda she would throw in there. So we really have to be careful, because the liberals are absolutely professional at this.
Yes, they are.
The other ones that are here that are teaching them that they don't even know. I mean, I can't blame all of them, because they really don't know how they've been indoctrinated.
Right. Hey, Alice, I have another call, and I'm almost out of time. Thank you for calling. We got Bill calling from Boulder Creek. Bill, welcome to Zero Doubt Zone. What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you. Somebody mentioned the Pope and Christ not being effective. Well, I read this interesting book. It was called The Second Coming of Christ, supposedly written by clairvoyants, and the guy said that he was basically murdered. And this stuff about dying for the sins of humanity is came on later, and he was deified like a lot of people are. He was made into a god, and yeah, he was apparently a nice guy, and he was murdered. So I think that's what the Pope was talking about. In other words, had he lived, he would have been far more effective.
I don't completely follow though. What does that pertain to?
That gal was talking about Christ and religion and stuff, and you mentioned that the Pope said that Christ was
it failed the cross.
Failed, right?
The failed cross.
He failed because he was murdered. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean,
Does that make sense?
Oh no, absolutely. But that's the first Pope who's ever said something like that, because that completely denies the deity of or that Christ was God. But I mean,
right. Well, I'm suggesting that maybe he wasn't God after all. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah. I mean, I could see a lot of people with that view. Absolutely. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be Christian if they thought that, right? But
it's one thing to be a Christian, and it's one thing to believe in something that's not true. It's just it makes things a little clearer.
I guess we all have the perspective. I guess that's where faith comes in for some people. But Bill, hey, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it tonight on Zero Doubt Zone. Only a few more minutes left, but please, hey, check out Zero Doubt Zone on YouTube. Subscribe to us. That helps us more than you could ever imagine. Doesn't cost you any money. Just takes a couple minutes. Oh, we have another call coming in. We're going to sneak in right before the end. But check out zerodoubtzone.com as well and hit the donate button. We were talking about NSA, took some calls on it, and it was very interesting. We were still talking about Snowden to see if he is a patriot or he's a traitor. Alice had mentioned she didn't mind being surveilled. And I've had other people say, what? No, I am a private citizen. That is my privacy, that I don't want the government having endless amounts of data that they can just collect on us continually, nonstop, minute after minute, day after day, month after month, year after year. And guess what? Hey, guess what? Maybe they want to come back a couple years later and say, well, Mr. Sorenson, we didn't like what we had to say here, or you said this and you lied about that, so now you're going to jail. Wait, but wasn't that illegal? Not anymore, thanks to the National Defense Authorization Act. Domestic terrorist. All right, I'm going off a little bit, but it's concerning for me to think that. I had a conversation with a family member a couple of years back, and I was talking about this exact same thing. Hey, man, do you think it's okay that what do I have to worry about? I'm not a terrorist. Fast forward, he changed his tune. They have no right to be listening to me. They have no right. Well, what about being a terrorist? Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not a terrorist. I got nothing to hide, but it's no one's business. What happened to privacy? What happened to privacy? What business is it the government has to stick their nose into our lives? They don't. It's already been dubbed illegal, but it still happens every day, every single day. For what purpose? To keep us safe. Meanwhile, the borders are wide open. Wide open. I know that's two separate things, but how is it? If they're trying to keep us safe, but the borders are wide open. That makes no sense to me. We're going to surveil every single person for the terrorists. Well, if you're going to do that, why don't you, get more people on the border or do something with the 1.5 million people coming across every single year. That's 75% go undetected. Undetected. But you're keeping us safe by surveilling us. Check out the Utah Data Center. The world's largest data collection facility in the history of humankind is in Utah. Statistic I don't have in front of me. I don't know exactly where I got it. It seeped into my brain somehow. But it basically could collect every phone call, every text message, every bank transaction, every keystroke of every single person on this planet for what was like 20 years or something? Huge data storage. And that's legal? Wait, it's not. That's right. I forgot. All these courts decided it wasn't. But it's still happening. For what purpose? I'm getting a little nervous about it. A little nervous. Zero Doubt Zone, folks. Man, this went by fast. Check us out on YouTube. Please subscribe to us. That helps us more than you could ever imagine. But if you also find it in your heart, to help support us, zerodoubtzone.com, hit the little donate button. $5, $2, $4,000, whatever you can do would really help. God bless you all.